It was just last week that Kayleigh McEnany was named the brand new White House press secretary, and she joins us live right now from Washington, D.C. Kayleigh, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're starting your job at a time when there's plenty of news. 2 days ago, the president made it very clear that he was unhappy with the fact that the World Health Organization was pretty much parroting exactly what China was saying regarding the origins of the virus that originated in Wuhan. And now that he has suspended the funding, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, put out this statement saying the president's halting of funding to the WHO as it leads the global fight against the coronavirus pandemic is senseless. A weak person blames others, the Speaker says. This decision is dangerous, illegal, and will be swiftly challenged. If I had to guess, I would think she's talking about the fact that Congress appropriated the money, gave it to the administration to give to the WHO, and now they can't stop it, and she's going to challenge it. What's your message to the Speaker?
She's completely wrong on the law, of course. This was not a direct appropriation to the WHO. In fact, it was given to the executive branch to give to international organizations. The president has full legal authority to do what he's doing, and he should do it. You know, Speaker Pelosi is so off base here. This has nothing to do with blaming others. This is about holding the World Health Organization accountable for its China virus. Back on December 31st, Taiwanese officials were warning the World Health Organization that there is human-human transmission with the coronavirus. They did nothing all the way until February 29th. The WHO was opposing travel restrictions, the same ones that Dr. Fauci has said saved American lives. This president took bold action, and there was an international organization that put American lives at risk, and as President Trump said yesterday, very likely caused a 20-fold increase in cases around the world. Our money's not going there. American taxpayer dollars will not fund that. This halt is completely merited.
So, Kayleigh, now we understand the president's going to put a blueprint out for our economic revival to get us back on our feet. In the blueprint, what role does testing have? Because it seems as though, if the reporting's correct, the 200-plus business leaders were saying, I can't do anything as much as I want to without testing. Where are we at with that?
Look, I was on that call with the business leaders and the president, and the business leaders praised President Trump. It was, I think, kind of misreported in the way that they suggested that the business leaders, forcefully made that point. In fact, they said, testing is important, something the president acknowledges and has done. We've had 3.3 million tests conducted so far, fast-tracked authorizations for more testing. We're in a strong place, Brian, and I can assure you that the guidance being put out today is in line with what the experts are saying. It's in line with what the data is showing, and it's a plan to put this economy back on track, put the economy back on track to the hottest in modern history that President Trump created, and also protect American lives. And we have the perfect president to do that.
I know Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Steve Mnuchin are going to get on a call. They're going to resume talks. They had talked in the past. Where do those negotiations stand? Because we're being told that loan money or the grant money is running out. And businesses, there are many who haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, this grant money is very important. It's undoubtedly running out. And this money, it's important to note, goes directly to small businesses to fund payroll. So average American workers across this country depend on it. I don't want to get ahead of the specific congressional negotiation, but I'll say this, Ainsley. This is Democrats yet again not putting the American worker, the American people first. You have Nancy Pelosi, who's standing in front of her expensive ice cream refrigerator on late-night television, while you have President Trump in the White House. I'm with him in the Oval Office working tirelessly for the American people. These are the Democrats who held up the funding initially, that $2 trillion stimulus bill. They held it up over a Green New Deal. You had Nancy Pelosi tearing up the State of the Union while President Trump was sounding the alarm about the coronavirus. These Democrats are fundamentally uninterested in working for the American people. They need to get back to Washington, get out from in front of that ice cream freezer, Nancy Pelosi. Come here and work with this president.
Let me ask you about this, Kayleigh. As White House press secretary, you would be the person who normally briefs the press. However, the president, with the coronavirus task force and his daily briefings, he's doing it every day by himself. How long are these going to last? A lot of people have told me they like it. It comes at the conclusion of the day, and it's nice to see where we are. But, sometimes they're an hour, sometimes they're 2 hours. How long can we keep it up?
Yeah, you know, I'll leave that to the president, but this is the best way for the American people to hear directly from the federal government, directly from their leader during a pandemic. And it is shameful that CNN did not take the first part of the briefing. They've made that a trend. It is shameful that MSNBC cut away from the briefing yesterday as President Trump praised American workers for making ventilators. The American people want to see their leaders, and this briefing is the mechanism to do that. And news organizations across the country that choose not to cover it and instead put on partisan individuals to put a lens on the news instead of hearing directly from their leaders, it is shameful. They should change that. The American people want leadership, and they see it with President Trump, and it is driving the news organizations across the country crazy.
Kayleigh, I wasn't on the call yesterday. You were listening to the call with these business leaders. But I understand you seated some very prestigious people from sports to small business to big business about revitalizing our economy and getting us back to work. Mark Cuban's one of those people who's going to be on with us shortly. Can you give us an idea of how this is going to organize and how their input will be utilized?
Yeah, I heard the conversation, and look, it was a very candid discussion where people and business leaders from across the country, both political parties, gave their opinion. You know, this is, Brian, this is America coming together. This is putting partisan politics aside, coming together and saying, hey, I'm going to work with you, President Trump. Here are my ideas, and President Trump takes them into council and comes up with the best plan for this country. But I would urge congressional Democrats to do what business leaders across this country from both political parties have done. Put your politics aside. Come together for the American people. That's what I heard on that call yesterday. And I hope Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer will follow the lead of some other members of their party who may not be in Congress but are in the world of business.
All right, Kayleigh, how's that baby?
Right.
Oh, she's so good. My little 5-month-old. She's so sweet. I love her to death.
Is your mom still on the road with her? I know you're working so hard.
Yeah, she's with my mom right now. So my mom's
so
watching her.
sweet.
I've got a great family, and I'm so blessed that God blessed me with a sweet little one.
All right, thank you so much. Congratulations on the big gig.
Thank you so much, Ainsley.
You're welcome, Kayleigh.